Hey folks, David Stewart here. Hope y'all having a great day so far. I am finishing up a little meal because I didn't have a chance to eat. I have children, all kinds of children, and they often get in the way of me doing things like eating. So if you're wondering what I'm eating, it's a giant taco grande. Very large taco full of vegetables and chicken. So I hope you guys are having a great day. If you're curious about these songs, sometimes people ask, where's this music? You can check out zoolonline.bandcamp.com and you'll find everything for sale. You can get the entire Memories Adrift album actually for free. You can technically get it for free. It's like pay whatever you want. So you could get it for $1 or you could check it out for free if you want. It's also on YouTube. This is one I recorded 2017. Okay, this is some new stuff from this year. I think this one has my son on it for some of those drum fills and stuff, some of the keyboard stuff. It's my son, so he wanted to play with me, so he got to do a little bit of playing with me. He's also on the first album when he was like a baby. To have him come in and play keyboards, which just kind of produced like a little aleatoric element, I guess. So that's always kind of fun to have there. So I hope you guys are doing pretty good. Dude, what's going on with you guys? Should have showed this when I made it. You would have just seen like a salad. Like it's a salad. There's a tortilla under there and you gotta fold it up. And then it's a burrito-sized tortilla and then you eat it. See, I've ravaged the plate. It's a whopping 340 calories. There you go. Have you heard about President Trump tracking Matt Drudge on Twitter? No, but I haven't paid attention to Matt Drudge in a long time. He has interns, I think, running his website. And so it's whatever. He changed advertisers last year, the advertising firm. A lot of people don't know this or pay attention to it. Basically to people that were friends or, you know, had hosted like Breitbart and stuff like that. And it was a brand new company, so it was really weird because you usually wouldn't do that for a website that gets a lot of traffic like that. I think it's kind of an inside deal thing. So, I mean, who cares? Like, Drudge Report is just a content aggregator, and I think they've really been irrelevant since Donald Trump was elected. It started going hard against Trump. And so a lot of people that like Drudge, like Trump, they just started tuning out. If Trump's attacking Drudge, trust me, people have been attacking him for like 2, 3 years, 4 years now. Yeah, I saw the thing from Melbourne. It's like cops coming in to raid your house because you posted something on Facebook. Here's the thing about social media, right? You think because you can hit that post button that you have some kind of free speech. But that's not really the case, you know. You just don't. I don't have free speech on YouTube. No one else does either. Silly question. Do you commit genocide every time you wake up from a dream with lots of people in it? No. Because they aren't real. Yeah. Yeah, people are like, oh, we need a free speech like they have in America. It's like, I don't have free speech. What are you talking about? You know? I have freer speech than most people in that I can't get fired. But I could. You know, it's like my job is YouTube. It's one of my jobs. It's a terrible job. I could get fired for being successful. I don't know of any other job where you can get fired for being successful at it. In other words, for gaining attention and commanding people's attention and putting out messages that people respond to, putting out content that people like to watch. That's eventually what gets you banned, right? Because it's not from the approved perspective for whatever hour of the day that it happens to happen. You know, people tend to focus way too much on what got Stephen Molyneux banned. Nothing got him banned. He got banned for being himself. He was banned because he's Stephen Molyneux. He was not banned because he said, you know, black IQ's lower on average than white IQ or something like that. He didn't get banned for that. It had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the fact that people were paying attention to him. They removed 80% of his traffic. They did that for me as well at the same time. So, you know, my revenue went down about 75% within one week and pretty much stayed there for the last year. So I don't really care that much anymore about like what happens. You know, you just, because what they want to do is they want to starve you out so that you change what you're doing or that you give up. And he didn't give up, and he kept commanding people's attention. People kept manually going to the videos, so they banned him off all social media all at once. Total collusion. But it had to do with who he is and what he represents, not some specific argument he made. You're like, oh, he finally got banned because he said something about racial IQ. Nah, that had nothing to do with it. New thing is they're taking guns people used to hunt for not wearing masks and stuff in Melbourne. It should be illegal to take anyone's guns. And the other thing is like, so the difference between the revolutionaries in the 18th century in America and modern people, not just in America, but Australia. The government wouldn't come in and try to confiscate your guns in like 1805 because everybody who did it would get murdered on sight, would be killed on sight, not murdered, but they'd be killed on sight. So if the police came in to get your guns, they would just get killed. Like no one would do it. And the whole thing about making sure that people could bear arms is that the private citizenry held arms of war, that not just like a musket for hunting. They had ships of the line full of cannons. They privately owned cannons and things like that. Gatling guns, you know. Everything could be owned by regular people. That's the way it should be. California pedo bill. Yes, I'll talk about that in a second. So, here's what it is. It made it legal for, basically it didn't make it legal, but you can avoid the sex offender registry if you commit statutory rape against somebody who is less than 10 years younger than you. So if you're 21 and you have sex with a 14-year-old boy, you can avoid the sex offender registry. Now the thing is this, they already did this with girls. And I'm trying to remember what they called it, the Romeo and Juliet law, which is like if you're within a certain age range, then it's like whatever. It's very complicated. I don't know all the little ins and outs. So now they extend it to gay relationships. But what people don't realize is that a big part of the gay community, particularly in San Francisco, but really everywhere, San Francisco's like the Sodom of the modern world, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, in a literal sense, they are. Because there's, like, you go to the Castro district, that's what life is about, is sodomy. I know I'm using harsh words, but just deal with it. So it's very, very common in the gay community. If you've known gay people in your life, this is really common, and they'll tell you that this is how it is. It's really common for teenage boys to get into a relationship with an older man who's going to teach them the ways of the gay. Basically teach them how to have gay sex and how to be gay and how to be part of the gay community, and is going to take that, basically take the male role in a sexual relationship. It's extremely common. Many gay men who are out and whatever, their first sexual relationship was when they were a teenager, a young teenager perhaps, like Milo Yiannopoulos, in fact, has talked about this because he was he had a sexual relationship with a Catholic priest. So he was a victim of statutory rape at a young age. So he's a rape victim. And that was the common thing for gay men. Is that's how you get into it, is that an older male basically does this. I remember a thing happening at a high school. This was not that long ago. It was about 15 years ago. And I'm not going to say what high school or who was involved, but it's people I know and things like that, so I don't want to get into it. But basically, a gay teenager admitted to the school counselor that he had been having either having or entertaining a sexual relationship with an older male, like a 40-year-old man or something like that. And the counselor was going to go, obviously, to the police because this is a statutory rape situation. And the principal stopped him from doing that and took the boy inside and says no, basically gave him a bunch of pro-gay stuff because the principal was of that persuasion. He said, no, you can't tell people about it. You have to go enjoy this, and don't stop him from enjoying love. It's that. The truth is, NAMBLA has been marching lock and step with gay pride back in the 60s and 70s, and it's only lately that's been something that's changed. My wife is calling me, so hold on a second. Hello? Hello? I think the baby's calling me. That's what I think is happening, guys. I think the baby's calling me. Okay. Yeah, I think the baby called me. I think the baby got mommy's phone at the park and called me. That's what happened. All right, $5 from Greg Smith. Thank you. Australian dollars. So I appreciate the $1.50. No, I'm kidding. We can only have bolt actions here in Victoria, but only if you prove you use it to hunt and stuff. People have had their guns confiscated for breaking curfew. So here's the thing. The Afghanis fought off the Russian military back in the 80s using bolt-action rifles. British 303s. I got a bunch of them. I can just bring one in and talk about it sometime if you want. I used to have a business restoring those with my father. That was a long time ago now. But anyway, so they fought off a world superpower using bolt-action rifles in British 303. A bolt-action rifle is nothing to turn your nose up at. You can absolutely kill lots of people with bolt-action rifles. You do not need a fully automatic rifle to defend yourself, nor do people people who are like, oh, well, people who think they can beat the government with their AR-15s are delusional when we have tanks. It's like, talk to some soldiers about how great those tanks are in Afghanistan. They're not that useful. They really aren't. You're thinking about like warfare from World War II and trying to extend that into an oppressive occupation of an armed populace that's not you. It doesn't work well. If all we had were bolt action rifles, you could still make it impossible to enact any kind of... Let's see if the baby's calling again. Hello? 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 Yeah. The Afghanis would hand copy AKs and handmade the ammo they used to gank people with those AKs. Khyber Pass copies are a thing. Yeah. So like, and the thing is, if you have 3D printers, you can make guns. If you have access to milling machines, you could make an M16 pretty much. The difference is people are not really willing to fight for their rights. Nobody's really willing to be a martyr. Nobody's really willing to organize against intrusive government. And I think the big difference between the U.S. and, say, Australia and the U.K., here the police would be on the side of the people. The police are right-wingers. I think it's a little different in the U.K. They would probably, quote, they already are buying into the ideas of government power. It's not quite that way here in the U.S. Not yet, anyway. By the way, have you given any further thought to the optimists and right-wing branding? Yeah, I write about it on my website from time to time. You want to be optimists because it's something. It's for the good way. It's for the proper order of society. It's for the proper hierarchy. It's for masculinity. It's for all those things. Rather than conservative. Conservative just doesn't really mean anything. Conservative just means you want things to stay as they are. Well, things aren't as they were, and as they are is now bad. So we either need to be regressive, like go backwards, or you need to be for something. So optimist is a good word for that, or optimates if you want to do the Latin pronunciation, but we don't have to do that. Hold on now. The Redcoats were quite happy to disarm people and force people to let them into their homes. They got shot doing it. That's it. It's official. The SPLC has spoken out against BitChute. Can't even allow wrong thing. Yes. BitChute's been, there's no alternatives. That's the other thing about free speech. The free market guys and, we don't have a free market. We don't have free speech. We don't have a free market. So you have a competitor like BitChute. Well, people would love to share their BitChute links on Twitter. And then Twitter says you can't share them. You can't share BitChute links on Twitter anymore. Well, why? Well, because BitChute hosts content that YouTube doesn't. That's why. So the alternatives are so hamstrung. There's realistically no way to do it besides like going door to door and telling people to like handing them a VHS or something. That's like the last freedom is like the physical duplication of your ideas and passing them around. So yeah, the difference. My big point with weapons is the big difference is like the willingness to use them is gone. Yeah, David Stewart makes some gun videos. I'll probably get banned, but yeah, I could do that. Who cares? I live in an unfree country myself with no rights to own a pepper spray, and I'd like to get into guns without having to join the police. Well, you can look up 3D printing gun options. A lot of smart guys have come up with some amazing designs to create very functional weapons with 3D printers. And the difficulty of 3D printing a gun is that there's a lot of force that goes into an explosive exploding and shooting a projectile and those expanding gases and all that stuff. So making a functional gun with a 3D printer is quite a big challenge, but some of those parts have to be made of steel because of the stresses there. But the whole point is to make like a minimal amount of them out of steel so that you can really do something kind of outstanding there. So you can look into that. There's also, you can make your own crossbows. There's stuff on how to make your own crossbows. There's all kinds of stuff like that. It's not just getting guns. You need to get ammo. You need to get practice. There's that too. But you got to start with step one, which is you have to have the weapon. All the know-how doesn't do you any good if you can't really get a hold of a weapon. And if you're really clever, you can make a matchlock firearm at home out of pipes. Matchlocks seem like matchlocks. You can even make the gunpowder yourself, right? You can combine the chemical. You can get the chemicals at a hardware store and make black powder. You can cast your own bullets. In fact, it's not that hard to make bullet molds. You just have to start with like your starting size, your size that's going to fit in your pipe. You can make it out of iron pipes. So you can make a matchlock, no problem. It'd be work. You'd have to learn a certain amount of skills to actually make the lock mechanism. Or you could just make a hand cannon. You can get a pipe, and a lot of the pipes will just fit like a 45 ACP in it. So there's a lot of pipes that are, you need a 1/2-inch pipe that's 50 caliber. Cast some lead balls. I'm not talking about PVC pipe. Although you could do this with PVC pipe technically, but you have to reinforce it in a bunch of different ways. You get a metal pipe, and you really just have to make the receiver and drill a hole so you can put a match down in it, or have like a priming pan, let's say. and you can easily make a matchlock, or make one where like you literally light a match and then light the gun off. Now that's really primitive, right? But it's something that could kill somebody, it could kill an attacker, and it can offend an opponent. So it is very useful. There's reasons that CIA used to drop like all kinds of packets and information behind enemy lines in World War II on how to make your own weapons, because obviously the Nazis would want to confiscate all the weapons and get control of that. If you don't have access to that, how do you resist the occupying force? Well, you have to make it. And they came up with all different kinds of ways. If you can get your hands on their ammunition, just the 9mm ammunition, here's how you can make a functioning gun. So there's a lot thought that goes into that. But if you can actually make your own powder, make your own balls, make your own barrel, or you just repurpose a metal pipe and light it with a match, it's totally possible to make a matchlock. And then to make the locking mechanism, you can have somebody who's clever come up with that. All that a matchlock is, it's a really slow burning fuse. And so what you do is you light that fuse, and back then they didn't have matches necessarily, but you could light the fuse and it would very slowly burn. There's a little rope, like with some like ammonium nitrate or something on it, like some fertilizer, basically saltpeter. They make it out of urine, and it would slowly burn down the wick. And before you'd fire it, you'd make sure the wick was lined up. You'd press it and it'd throw that burning wick onto your prime pan, which is a little pan full of powder, and that would light off, go into the barrel, and boom, fire your weapon when you needed it to fire. But hand cannons, you used to just light them with a stick, so you could still do that, right? The improvised gun. Now, improvised explosive devices are still possible to be made on your own with no weapons whatsoever. So oppressing an occupying force, and this is the thing that we really should learn from Afghanistan and Iraq, is it's very difficult to be an occupying force in this time going forward, because all of these, the Pandora's box is open. You can't, you could be you could have the Roman legion crack down on whatever people you wanted back in 1st century AD, because they could reasonably not have a sword and not how to use it, and your legionaries were much better trained. You could really occupy well. Not as well now, as long as people are willing to resist. The thing is, I think our population is so domesticated that they probably would never put up a fight unless it was somebody that they could all identify as a foreigner. So like if like China was like going to invade, that would be awful for them. But everybody could recognize that they're foreigners. The problem is that it's us. So I don't know what like a 4th generation civil war would end up looking like, but maybe we'll find out. Let's see if I missed some more stuff here. I saw an idiot try to argue that someone having a melee weapon didn't warrant self-defense of the firearm. Yeah, and here's the thing about self-defense. Self-defense is not the right to defend yourself with the equal amount of force that your offending attacker is using. It's the right to mitigate completely any attack upon you with whatever force. So if somebody attacks you with a knife, it's completely reasonable to kill them with anything. Their knife is capable of... If somebody attacks you with fists, I think it's legitimate to shoot them, right? To use lethal force. You can kill somebody with your fists. You can kill someone in hand-to-hand combat. People have forgotten this. People die in the ring in boxing, and they're wearing padded gloves. Yes, you can die from melee combat. A machete, if someone's coming at you with a machete and you have the ability to stop them from harming you by shooting them, you should do that. Really basic. It doesn't mean someone's coming at you with a machete, you're only allowed to use a machete to defend yourself. That's ridiculous. By the way, if you can find those plans from World War II, those guns are still very good. Firearms require tools. They are purely mechanical. If Bob could figure out how to make an SMG out of spare parts, so can you. That's true. Melbourne is the prototypical feminist nanny state. In the Spanish Civil War, much of the tide was turned in the first months of the conflict, when leftist officers were fragged by patriots who then took control of their units. Yeah. What a cool example. What a good example. The Spanish Civil War, I really want to read some more stuff on it, because I haven't studied it in so long, and it's such an interesting conflict, I think. I think there's so much to get out of the Spanish Civil War, because it was an ideological conflict as much as an armed conflict. I think it put a lot of things in perspective, especially when it comes to fascism. I think people do not have a historically accurate view of fascism because they've been told that Nazis, National Socialists, were fascists and were bad, and therefore fascism's bad. And fascism is bad in lots of ways, but not necessarily for the ways that people think, which is like, well, it commits genocide. It's like, no, so did socialism, right? Like the USSR killed way more people. More people died because of Bolshevism than Nazism by a lot. And it's not even close. And the worst part about it is that if you dig a little bit deeper, especially with, like, say, Solzhenitsyn, whose last book you can't even get in English. He wrote the Gulag Archipelago because he points out the reality that Bolsheviks were mostly non-Russian. Who they were? Well, they were part of Poland that got annexed. So their racial and religious makeup was non-Russian, non-Christian. No one wants to talk about that, but they murdered tons of people. People seriously underrate smoothbore, black powder arms. Yeah. I have a black powder rifle, too. You can still cut rifling if you know what you're doing, but it takes a lot of special tooling. Once saw this would-be historical YouTuber claim a bow was superior in every way. Dude was going full noble savage. Yeah, that's dumb. So why did people stop using, say, the longbow? Why did they stop using the longbow and go to firearms? Well, firearms were deadly on, like, orders of magnitude higher. First of all, your armor that you used in, say, from the 15th century on was pretty effective against most missile attacks. Not all, but most. It doesn't mean missile attacks were useless, but certainly a well-armored knight was not going to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking. It was very difficult to penetrate. You say Gothic plate armor or North Italian plate armor, and even munitions armor was very effective against missile fire, whether it was from longbows or crossbows. And longbows were very useful because you could lob a missile very far. Crossbows ended up becoming more prevalent even than the longbow, I guess, in most conflict, because over short range you could deliver more impact force, which made them more useful against most of your soldiers who were wearing munitions armor. Munitions armor, it looks like plate armor, but it's basically not fitted to you, and there's more gaps. So by the end of the 16th century, firearms could penetrate that armor. Firearms could do a lot more damage to munitions armor. And it just made armor obsolete. Armor itself became obsolete. Now, if you brought a bow back into an unarmored environment, yeah, you might be able to shoot some people, but a gun, even a smoothbore, was more accurate than a bow over long distances. Once you get past, 20 or 30 meters with a bow, you're really shooting with a long arc to try to get it anywhere. You're still shooting with a long arc at 20 meters. But with a musket, you're not having to think that much. There's going to be a little drop, not much. You could shoot someone with a musket much further. So it's better in every way, other than it takes a long time to stop, possibly clean the bore out, depending on how many shots you fired. Put powder, wad, ball, ram it down, prime your pan if it's a flintlock. Stop to prime your pan. Get all that ready. It takes a while, right? And you're vulnerable during that time. But as far as how it was deployed on the battlefield, why did they deploy? If you look at 18th century warfare, they would deploy ranks of musketeers, ranks of people with muskets, so that the front line, when they were empty, the next line had already loaded theirs and they were ready to fire again. So in the open battlefield, you had enough time usually to load your musket because you'd be protected by other people who had their muskets loaded. The only time it didn't work was, say, fighting Americans who were like hiding in the trees, and you're like, let's go get them, and then they run away after they shoot. They shoot, and rather than doing it, they run away. They're like, we'll run away and load. So it was a different kind of warfare at that point. If you read one of the few accounts of the Spanish Civil War from the right, read Peter Kemp's Mine Were of Trouble. He was a Catholic English journalist who volunteered. Interesting. I'll check it out. If someone is about to be attacked in any way, should be able to defend themselves. Yes, exactly. It's also, if you ever saw the movie Con Air was this, He went to jail because he got in a fight with people and killed him, and they like declared him a deadly weapon because he was an Army Ranger or something like that. So it'd be like, let's say somebody attacks a dude and he doesn't realize that it's like a professional fighter, like a professional boxer or something. The professional boxer kills him by knocks him out so hard it kills him, Is that boxer guilty of murder? No. Just because he had greater capacity to harm his opponent doesn't mean that he's somehow guilty of some horrible thing, right? Capacity doesn't work that way. We don't do it based on capacity to kill. It's all about your ability to mitigate your attacker. That's what self-defense is. I feel this year proves cops won't side with people, especially in the left-leaning cities. Cops who speak out get fired and replaced with just following orders drones. Now, that's a good point, but it's not the same. Portland is not the same as where I live. Things are different in different places. And it's not there yet where like you can expect the police to just be lefties that will back up the government and statists. That sort of will to violence and rebellion is utterly absent in American population. It is now. People seriously underrate smoothbore. Yes, got that. Fascism didn't commit any genocide. Nazism did, allegedly. And Franco was a national Catholic, not a socialist. Yeah, so National Socialism, if we get real specific, people lump NatSoc in with fascism, and there's a lot of similarities. And fascism it's a statist philosophy, for sure. And of course, I don't like statist philosophy, so that is going to include fascism. But people do not have a realistic view of fascism at all, because they think, you don't realize, like, oh, there was like Spanish fascists and Italian fascists, like they must have all been like the Nazis. It's like, no. Not at all. Forged documents to get passage to Spain and vouched for in right-wing circles. Chose to join the Roquettes, the Carlist militias, rather than Falange, whom he saw as incompetent. Interesting. That's Peter Kemp. Most people likely don't even know the reference to the Fascist bundle of sticks. Fascism is at its core a collectivist movement. It's true. It's a statist movement, yeah. Did you make those tacos yourself? Yes. They're 340 calories. It's 5 ounces of grilled chicken, 110 calories for the burrito-sized tortilla. And it's actually not 110 calories. It's actually higher than that. But they don't count the fiber. So it's a super high fiber tortilla. And so some of that fiber is going to be calories, but you can't really be certain how much because of a bunch of things. So soluble fiber, which is like Metamucil, and the fiber that's in, say, like fibrous bread, like whole wheat bread, that kind of dissolves in water. It's supposed to give you about 2 grams, or 2 calories per gram, 2 kilocalories per gram of energy. Insoluble fiber gives you like nothing, except if you are in a real significant food shortage problem, you actually can get calorie from cellulose, from insoluble fiber, like from eating tree bark, because the bacteria in your gut they're more populous and are able to break it down. So as your food situation gets more dire, you're able to extract more calories from fiber in a very weird way. I'm not sure of like every little detail, but that's apparently what happens. They've studied this with people who have, say specific diets or in food starvation issues. So it's that. I put some pepperoncinis on it, which are like pickled peppers from they're like a Greek thing. It's basically like a big gyro. I'm out of olives, or I would have put olives on it. I really like olives for a little bit of fat. Instead, I put Parmesan cheese. So try to put a little bit of fat. 1 tablespoon, which is about 25 calories of Parmesan cheese. About 180 calories for the chicken, 110 for the wrap, but a little bit more because there's fiber. And then the rest of it is just spinach and lettuce. And it was like a big pile of it. So maybe 20 calories worth of all of that, if that. But it's really hard to eat all that. It's a ton of fiber, so you feel really full. And the whole thing adds up to about 340, 350 calories, which is good. That means you can eat like 5 of those a day and still be in a calorie deficit. And good luck eating, and I'm full. Like, good luck eating 5 of those. It's kind of like drinking orange juice versus eating oranges. It's like drinking orange juice is not specifically bad for you, but it's really a lot. It's like 200 calories for a glass of orange juice. So if you're drinking orange juice, like get 200 calories out of oranges, you'd have to eat like 3 oranges. And I don't know about you, but if I eat 1 orange, I feel pretty full. So eating 3 oranges is like you're stuffing your face to get that 200 calories. And it's a ton of fiber, so you'll feel really full. This year has proven... Okay, already did that. At what point does inspiration become ripping off in writing fiction? I don't know. I don't have a hard line there. I would love to... if in another life, I'm a copyright attorney, I guess. Because there's no surefire way to decide that from a legal perspective. Whenever you are taking a copyright infringement case to court, and this is way more true if it's music, you're basically rolling the dice. You don't know which way it's going to come out. There's no precedent that can be relied upon to accurately predict how any court case is going to go in... how any court case is actually going to go in when it comes to copyright infringement. So when it comes to ripping something off, I'd say for sure if the core identifiable elements are identical, you're ripping something off. So just as an example, if I'm going to make a high fantasy novel set in a different world, and I'm going to make the protagonist a halfling, and I'm going to make him have his servant accompany him on a quest to destroy a magical artifact that a Dark Lord wants, I'm ripping off Lord of the Rings. It's very obvious at that point. Then there's a whole bunch of gray areas. Like, well, he has a hobbit, he has a halfling main character, but he's really different. It's not about destroying an object. It's about saving a girl or something. Is Willow a ripoff of Lord of the Rings? That'd be a good question. You have a halfling main character. You have something a Dark Lord's seeking, but it's a baby. You have out and out magic. You do have an Aragorn-like character, but he's a total rogue, right? In Mad Mardigan. No, I don't think Willow's a ripoff of Lord of the Rings at all. It has a lot of flavors that remind me of Lord of the Rings, particularly the beginning. And visually, Ron Howard's movie there and George Lucas's movie, feels a lot like very inspired by Lord of the Rings. But clearly, it's a different story with different stuff going on. It's just totally different. Different aesthetics, too. Especially after you get past the first part. So, I think that's a good one. I think that's a good example. Say Willow versus Lord of the Rings. Like, Willow's really not a ripoff, but it's definitely inspired by it. I'd like to remind people that fascist Portugal was a founding member of NATO. Yeah. There were even Portuguese fascists. My dad still remembers making the Roman salute at school. Yeah, the Roman salute. People don't even know it's Roman. They're like... why would Germans do the Roman salute? Well, because of the Holy Roman Empire. So the Germans viewed themselves as the inheritors of Rome. Rome is an idea. Where is Rome? Rome's in here. Rome's in your heart. It's an idea more than a place, which is why Constantinople can be Roman, right? Salazar claimed he wasn't fascist because he was a Catholic, and that fascism is a pagan Caesarism. But come on, Caesarism. Let's call it Caesarism. Kaiserism. I keep bringing up that Hitler was actually a socialist, called himself a socialist. Yes. Repossessed private property. Yeah. Massive state works, but somehow he's right-wing. He's right-wing because, left-wing economically, right-wing as far as, like, the promotion of country. But even then, it's not fully traditionalist. He's not trying to restore... He wasn't trying to actually restore the Holy Roman Empire. He wasn't actually trying to restore German aristocratic feudalism or something like that. Rather, he started with this idea of German nationalism and married that to socialist economic policies. So domestic socialism versus international socialism. Really, North Korea is very similar to Germany in terms of the way its ideology mixes over with its nationalist ideology mixes with its socialist ideology. It's like a super extreme version of Nazi Germany, where they have, people like Heil Hitler. It's like they have a strong cult of state and a cult of personality regarding who is the head of state. It's crazy. North Korea is a really wild place to look at it. I would recommend, there's a book I'll recommend that's very funny at first, but gets real serious as you go. And it's called The Unauthorized Autobiography of Kim Jong-Il. It's called Dear Reader, the unauthorized autobiography. So it's a fictional autobiography written by a writer who traveled to North Korea and wrote this fake autobiography from Kim Jong-il's perspective. It starts off very funny. It's like, I remember perfectly the day of my birth. The sun was shining over Mount Pektu. It's a great book, but it really shines a strong light on the kind of culture that's in there and the way the state views itself and its relationship to the rest of the world. That they fiercely believe in their independence. Do you think that Joe Biden has dementia? Yes, to some degree. Diet book win. I'm not a diet expert. If you want diet experts, there's a bunch of fitness YouTubers that probably have it. If you want a diet book recommendation, if you're willing to spend money, my diet, it looks like, is pretty close to the at least the meals I eat, pretty close to what Greg Doucette, who's a fitness YouTuber and pro bodybuilder, what he sells in a book called The Ultimate Anabolic Cookbook. So he's got a bunch of recipes. This is stuff that I kind of came up with 10 years ago in Vegas, and a lot of other really hyper fitness minded people came up with, including bodybuilders, for how to eat food that didn't taste like crap, but was low calorie density and had lots of protein so that you could maintain a low body fat percentage and grow and build muscle and not feel like you're low energy, all that kind of stuff. So it's really balanced. He has, his cookbook's like $50, but there's a ton of recipes like what I had in there. I mean, I can just do some videos on them if you guys want, but I wouldn't do a diet book because I'm really not a diet expert. I'm a guy who lost a lot of weight at one point, and that's it. So there's other people who've made, they've lost the weight and they've helped other people lose the weight, and they just have a better understanding of it. I found, and personally, I don't have that many recipes. I have like 5 to 10 recipes that I eat. And really, it's closer to like 4 that I eat on a daily basis. And I eat those same things every day so that I know exactly how much I'm eating. I track every calorie pretty much down to like the pepperoncinis that I put on there, which was like 5 calories. I have it all written down in a diary so that I know exactly how much I'm eating and that I'm getting enough of all my micronutrients and stuff and all my macronutrients. That means that I don't need a ton of diet variety. I don't want a ton of diet variety because that throws a monkey wrench into it. It's like I ate a hamburger last night. So it was 660 calories for the bun and the meat. That's a lot, for one meal. Maybe not for you guys, but for somebody who's trying to cut pretty hard and trying to maintain a really like solid diet, it's kind of hard. It's fine. You can work that into your diet. That's not a big deal. But if you're eating like random things that are 1,000 calories, it's a lot harder to diet because it's like, oh man, I have, let's say you're on a 2,200 calorie budget. I have 1,200 calories to get all this other nutrition in for the day. It gets really hard. So if you're eating really pretty much the same things, you're getting the nutrition you need every day, and it makes it really easy. And you never feel hungry, that kind of stuff. Somebody was like, I have these people come in and they're like, oh, you got to do this diet and that diet, and you do whatever diet is going to work for you. That you could try any diet out, and you do carnivore if you want or something weird like that. It's just most people, when they're looking for a shortcut, they're looking for a way to avoid actually figuring out how much energy they're putting in their body. So they are like, if I just eat nothing but meat, that's how I'm going to diet. And they just don't think about how much is in the meat. So yeah, they lose weight and they don't really realize that they're maybe only eating 1,500 calories a day, which anyone would lose weight on 1,500 calories a day. A ton of weight, maybe a dangerous amount of weight, depending on how lean you already are and how high your metabolism is at the start of it. So I remember this back with like when Jordan Peterson was doing this meat diet from his daughter Michaela, and she sells a book on it. So you can buy her book. I think it has Jordan in like the background and like her in the foreground. It's a really cheap looking book cover. It looks awful. She got supposedly all these health benefits from going the carnivore diet. But Jordan Peterson was like, I lost all this weight. Like the next week on Joe Rogan, it was a dietitian. It's like, well, all these things that he's describing, this is exactly what happens if you just were cutting calories. This is like, that's the list of what happens if you were on a really low calorie diet. He's probably just not eating as much energy as he thinks because he's not counting calories. So if you're eating, for example, lean meat, chicken breast, which is like, let's say chicken breast, fresh chicken breast cooked is like 40 calories an ounce. That's a lot of chicken breast you have to eat to get to 2,000, Or let's say it's uncooked. It's 50 calories an ounce, uncooked. Okay. Well, to get to 2,000, that means how many? I got to eat 20 ounces of uncooked chicken, to get to 1,000. I got to eat 40 ounces of chicken breast to get to 2,000 calories. And that's cutting. You'd be cutting at 2,000 calories if you're a male, most people. 2,000 calories is pretty lean, To get to 2,500 calories, it's hard to gain weight eating nothing but meat. Meat's not that calorie dense, and it's really satiating. If you ate 20 ounces of chicken breast in one sitting, that's 4 times what I just ate in terms of chicken breast. I could do it, but man, I would be almost sick. I'd feel so full at the end of it. So it's really hard. It's really hard to eat tons and tons of calories just eating meat. So it could be a cutting strategy. My concern, one of the reasons I wouldn't do carnivore is like, vegetables, man. I eat tons of vegetables, and there's a lot of micronutrients in vegetables, and I want them. I think these socialists, thank you for the super chat, Kaku. I think the socialist orders are a different rendition of the imperial cult. Yes. Like Augustus Caesar and Egyptian pharaohs and their successors are deified and worshipped as such. Yes, and in North Korea, it's codified. You actually have to take a class on the leaders of North Korea. And they have a title, just kind of like how Octavian had a title, Augustus, and we just exited the month of August. They have titles, so I think Kim Il-sung is the he's the great leader, and Kim Jong-Il was the beloved leader, and so they have these titles for each of the heads of state as you go through everything. It's really creepy, but it is like that. It's the cult of personality, the belief that person is basically ordained by divine intervention, ordained by the gods to do whatever they happen to be doing. That's an important element. There's an important element for that. And they did the same thing like in communist Russia. It was Leningrad, then it was Stalingrad, then it was back to Leningrad. And I think it finally went back to St. Petersburg at some point. It might have gone back to Stalingrad at one point too. I'm trying to remember all the different names of St. Petersburg and like what order they went in. Because of there was de-Stalinization, then re-Stalinization. It was the history of the USSR is wild from that. Did the lava lamp die? No, it's still there. Maybe you can't see it. I can't see myself, so hold on. Yeah, it's behind me. It's back here. Maybe because this light's like shining a little bit too much on it, or maybe my camera's slightly off. I don't know. Turn up the fan on my AC. I'm getting hot. Let's play some games. I don't know. This one is like 30 years old. It's old. Jordan Peterson's getting ratioed everywhere, and that's how you know you're in a truly dissident channel. The Chubber sister will be the strong and independent leader when he croaks. Yeah, he keeps going in and out of comas, and they're like, nah, that didn't happen. He might be having like diabetic comas. You might have the leader of North Korea, a country where people are like 5 inches shorter than their racially identical neighbors to the south because of malnutrition. They're shorter than the South Koreans because they don't eat enough food as children because they're suffering famine. Have diabetic comas because he's fat. Think about that. What do you think about parkour? I can't do parkour. Would you ever consider doing a few tutorial videos on it? I'm not that athletic. Get that parkour! Yeah! Get that parkour! North Korea's whole attitude towards their leaders reminds me of a lot of Warhammer 40k. Yeah. Warhammer 40k is based on this. It's very classical. It goes back to Rome, Greece, even before that. The view of the Emperor Xerxes as a living god, the Pharaoh as a living god. This goes way back. Kaku's right. It goes way back in time. It's just a new rendition of that. Still very interesting, though. St. Petersburg became Leningrad and is now Petrograd. Tsaritsyn became Stalingrad and is now Volgograd. Okay, I was incorrect then. I'm sorry. It was Petrograd that became Stalingrad? It was St. Petersburg that became Leningrad. Okay. I had that wrong. And then they changed it. I know that they like de-Stalinized. I have to go back and look. I haven't read that history in years, but it was so interesting. Kind of like the succession of political entities, because we tend to think of the Soviet Union as a 70-year experiment or something, but there's really a bunch of different Soviet Unions depending on what time period you're looking at, because they would radically reorganize themselves and radically change what they were doing, and sometimes in really wild ways, where they would completely reverse course on one thing and then go back to what they were doing before for all kinds of different reasons. Very fascinating. What are your thoughts on bathos, not pathos? Bathos. Is that where you go to the bath? I'm going to Google the word. Okay, an effective anticlimax created by unintentional lapse in mood from the sublime to the trivial or ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I've talked about this. So, I don't think it's necessarily switching the mood just to trivial or ridiculous. This has happened in a bunch of different works, but it can also just change the mood in going from something that's, say, like epic or heroic to something that's really tragic or dour. You can change the mood of what you're doing, and then you lose the sense of that you were going towards something. And I actually experienced this not with levity, but with that change in mood with Neon Genesis, which I watched while I was doing biking the other week. The series completely changes what it is by about episode 15. And then you get to the end and there's no climax. It's just completely anticlimactic. It peters out like a dying car or something. And it's a really bad feeling. So people feel very, very let down by stuff like that. You could make a point that certain movies can do this. Like I've seen this in some of the Marvel movies, where they time there's comic relief, but if you time the comic relief incorrectly, it's going to be anticlimactic. So, times where they start cracking jokes in the middle of what is the most serious scene can produce this effect. There's one where like Hulk smashes Loki around, and it's a silly comic relief point. And if that had been like the ultimate climax of that moment, and not like all the robots coming in, it would have like ruined Avengers. So just a little shift of timing can make it pretty bad. Do you think there are things to consider when writing the opposite gender? Yes. My main character is female, but I am a man. I can offset some things without it being fantasy, but not everything. Yes. So you have to think about what tends to motivate the opposite sex. But keep in mind that everybody's an individual. So there's nothing to say that a female can't be motivated by some of the things a male is. But there's also going to be elements to her that need to be, I guess, essentially female, right? So I've written female protagonists before, multiple times. And they work out fine. As long as you can have a female protagonist that's also like pretty kick-ass, but you don't want to go too far on the other side where they're basically just every point of their personality is replicating a male. Then you're just writing a male character who's aesthetically female. You know what I mean? Oh, Neon Genesis. Yeah, the writer, he had a psychotic break later. Yeah, I've heard this. Everybody was breaking down from the scheduling of the show. They were running out of money. Couldn't finish the shows on time. Like, it was chaos trying to finish Neon Genesis Evangelion. I know some of that. But man, it's one of the worst series endings I've ever seen. You got to watch a whole movie that replaces those last two episodes called The Death of Evangelion to even understand what was going on. And even then, you get to the end and you realize that they hadn't really thought out the ending before they began, because there's no discernible difference between the goals of two opposing factions that kind of just show up at the end. It's really, it's a great case study, and it's really not that bad of an anime. I don't want to like crap on it. It's just a great example of the entire direction, what the anime was about, its mood, its style, everything changes between episodes 10 and 15, and by the time you get to episode 15, you're like, I don't even know what show I'm watching anymore. Is this mecha anime? Where's the mechas? Yeah, every other line is comic relief in a Marvel film. It really depends on the film, though. But you're right. But you notice it will actually go down during more climactic points. Like in Endgame, there's a lot less comic relief towards the end of that. And then they even do like a girl power moment, which probably has this bathos idea. I just call it an anticlimax, where it's just like it disrupts the flow of what's happening. It takes you out of the story, breaks that immersion, and makes you a lot less willing to accept what you see on the screen. Let's go over here. I'm going to turn this light off because it's blinding me. Bright lights in here. Now, just to let everybody know what's up, there may be less content the next couple weeks because I want to focus on some other things that aren't content. I have 3 videos that should come out this week, and then next week there may be fewer. So we'll just see what's happening. And I may actually move my entire studio to a different room because of some practical things with my family. Basically, I might put my bedroom in here and move this into my master bedroom to facilitate better keeping track of the kids. Sorry, it crashed. What are you guys doing in Northwest? Commies are reinstalling the patch, update the real socialism, capitalist pigs, and be free of oppression. Thank you for the $5. Where is it? There we go. I love that fanfare. Yes. The Femvengers totally took me out of my suspension of disbelief. Yeah, it was a really bad moment. It was a really stupid moment. And it was kind of I think it's a prelude of what's to come. I don't think you're going to see very many good Marvel films from here on out. And frankly, I'm just not really interested in any kind of Hollywood movies in general right now. People are asking me about Dune every single week. What do you think of the new Dune movie? I don't think anything. I've never seen a single thing about it, and I don't care about it. Like, why would I care about another Hollywood adaptation? Like, seriously, who cares? It's not going to be good. It's probably going to really suck. So just skip it. Just don't pay attention to it. It doesn't matter. All right.
Come back. Please return soon. It's all.
Let's see here. Okay. Go meet him in Leeuwen. Oh. He's on the road to Leeuwen. They just tell you where he is. It's a little bit cheap, but whatever. Oh, I'm going to have to go wait in the inn. Merchant's Inn. So it feels like home, It feels like home to walk into the Merchant's Inn. Let's wait 8 hours. I'm only going to play for a few minutes, I think, because I do want to help get my kids to bed. Endgame was a good cap off. For me, I was like, I don't feel any compulsion to need to see any more after Endgame. Oh, he's already on the road. Hollywood will never learn anything until they lose all their money and the entire system collapses. They will never learn. And even if they run out of money, they'll view their mission as somehow virtuous and therefore worthy of their time and attention. You know, one of the things you can actually do with magic, if you make your own spells, you can actually make like a speed spell that'll make you way faster than a horse. You could put it on you. You could put like 4 different ones on you and just like zoom across the map at max speed. Sure I'm going the right way. He should leave Leo in at some point here. And we'll kill him on the road. I started implementing intermittent fasting into my diet this week and it's completely killed my cravings. You got the bro science reason as to why this is? It's really just, I think it's just a mental focus thing. You know, I think it's just mental focus. Like, you're not focused on eating. You know, when you lock your hunger into one little area, you're not that focused on eating. And then when you do eat, it's satisfying. So you just don't, you're eating bigger meals. So it ends up feeling a little more satisfying. I'm not doing intermittent fasting for this diet, but I think it's kind of useful. You know, if you're pretty hard into a deep diet and you're trying to get really lean, I think intermittent fasting can be very useful. I don't think it's great maybe if you're trying to build a lot of muscle, because you really are kind of cutting off your protein supply for a couple hours there. But I think it's pretty good. I'm just like running past these bandits. I think it's good if you're towards the end of a diet because you keep looking for more ways, like how can I cut more calories? How can I cut more calories? And the answer is you just, instead of cutting your calories, you shrink your eating window and just cut one of your meals. So you're eating, like 1 less meal, 2 less meals. And so if you're eating, a couple fewer meals, it's a little bit harder to blow past your calorie budget. Or a little easier to eat on a much leaner budget than what normally you would want to eat on. Somehow I walked off the road. I thought I was on the road. Turns out I was not on the road. There's a will-o-wisp. Why are so many rich and famous caught in underage relations? Good question. I can't believe natural-born pedos always end up as actors, politicians. I think it's something must be turning them after the fact. I think it's probably more an obsession with the perverse and the forbidden than them being having some natural inclination towards pedophilia. This is assuming that there is some sort of natural inclination towards it. I don't believe there is. There's certainly no evolutionary reason why you would be attracted to non-fertile humans. That makes no sense. And so I think, people who are abused as children, they often end up as abusers themselves. So I think environment does affect a lot. A lot of people in the LGBT community, especially lesbians, are victims of sexual violence. So the idea that somehow somebody's sexuality is set in stone, like it's part of their hair colors, I don't think it's true. I think there's a lot of things that do that. But yeah, like if you have the opportunity to do things which are sick and perverse and that's what your focus is.
I have no time for your pathetic attempts at small talk. Now walk away before I get nasty.
Help me, Shadowmere. Help me kill this guy. There we go. I've killed Alval Uvani. Must pick up my reward and next contract at the dead drop located in the market district of the Imperial City in a hollowed out tree stump behind stonewall shields. Grab his key. Sweet. And there's a gate to oblivion. So I don't feel like doing an Oblivion Gate right now, but Oblivion Gates at lower levels are a really good way to get really easy, cheap like weapon enchants that do tons of cool things like fire damage and stuff like that. So you can get the little eye when you close the Oblivion Gate, and you can use it to enchant an item, which is pretty nice. Alright, we're going to go to the Market District. Any particular reason you chose Oblivion over other Elder Scrolls installments? I just like this one the best. And I wanted... It has the best escapist feeling to me. It really is a place that I think is fun. You know, it'd be fun to live in the Imperial City. It looks nice. It's a cool place to be. I've picked up my reward and received my next contract. I picked up my next contract from the dead drop in the hollowed out tree stump. I've been ordered to go to the campsite on Knoll Mountain and kill Havelstein Horblood, a savage, Nord barbarian, skilled in the use of the axe. Cool. I'm holding out hope that Doctor Strange 2 will be good because Sam Raimi's directing it. Depends on how much creative freedom they allow him, though. Yeah, the horse assists you. I don't think you're dead on about fasting, bro. For 8 hours, I think about my diet, and the rest I just don't eat, and it's completely out of my mind. Oh, I think you're dead on. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. It's like I'd go to work, my mind was on my work, it was on what I was doing, come home, and then I could think about what I was eating. You just kind of put a lot of that out of your mind, so you weren't, and like if you're super like focused on how much you're trying to eat at a given time, you're just like, okay, has it been 3? Oh, I haven't eaten in 3 hours. I'm hungry. Okay, you know how much protein's in this? Versus you get home and you just eat the food that you've already planned to eat, and it's good. It's no problem. Frostcrag Spire. I guess I can go straight there, huh? Just kind of walk over and kill this guy. Uh-oh. I think I'm gonna have to go into Frostcrag Spire to just not die. But since we're not in the Mage College, I think we can actually use this thing to... This is a DLC house that you can buy. I think you can actually buy like your own spellcrafting stuff. You know, it tells you where to buy stuff. And then you can set up the whole thing. So like, you know, everything's gonna like light up here. Look, the wall's twisting. This was Oblivion was one of the first games to do DLC, and yeah, this is an example of like DLC that I don't really like. It's like, why don't you just buy? Oh, you can summon Atronarchs and kill them. Oh, I have to buy candles to use the enchanting altar, and anyway. So now I have that, and I can just travel here to do that. Dr. Clay Jones has a pretty good discussion on pedos and general human evil, though more focused on genocide in his books. Interesting. Yeah, I think pedophilia is really a focus on like wicked perverseness. It's like people who have, say, a rape fetish or something like that. Why would you have a fetish for something which is evil? You know, that's something that's developed. Nobody's born a rapeophile. I think one of the best symbols of American decline is the Pop-Tart. It was perfectly fine pastry with a jelly filling that could be found on a shelf. Then they slathered it in icing. You know, I remember Pop-Tarts not having icing when I was a kid. I don't know if you can get icing-free Pop-Tarts anymore. I bet you can't. I bet you can't really get icing-free Pop-Tarts anymore. Do you trust anyone to still put out quality, enjoyable movies without a woke agenda? No. Oh, so far I still trust Stallone, Gibson, Eastwood, and Cruise, and they have creative control. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, the wolf is the wolf helping me? No. Oh, that's her wolf. I'll just kill her wolf first. There we go. Now I'll kill her. Oh no, it's a dude. It's a dude. For some reason I thought it was a chick. I don't know why. Oh, he has frost resistance. We don't want to use frost on him. We want to use fire. I'm not even wearing my armor. What am I thinking? Oh, he has a soul trap axe. That's cool. Must now pick up my reward in next contract. And he has an elven battle axe. I don't think I have enough room in my bags to carry off all his loot, though. We'll repair all his loot, and then we will. Drop it. Alright. Put the loot back on his body, and then I think we can pick up that elven battle axe. We'll try it. I don't want to do the math, because math is hard. Nope, still too heavy. Let's see here. The soul trap axe is worth more. I forgot to sell the jinxing longsword. I guess we'll put the elven battle axe back. We can always come back and get it. It's on his body. There it shall remain. Now he's got a whole barrel full of lettuce. And corn. Corn. Let's see here. Did you ever get into Daggerfall? A long time ago, but I don't really consider it very playable now. It's too hard to go from something that looks good and controls well to something which I don't think really does, if I'm being frank. Toaster strudel over Pop-Tarts. I don't eat any of them. I mean, I view the Pop-Tart as like it's the same as eating a piece of cake. So I rarely eat them. But sometimes I really want a Pop-Tart, and I'll go buy Pop-Tarts at the store and eat them. Can you elaborate on your earlier statement regarding Abraham Lincoln? Do the ends not justify the means? The question is incorrect. It's not. If the end doesn't justify the means, what does? That's not the point. The point is that certain means are the ends. Rather, to say that the ends of a republic are freedoms and the freedom of association that come with being part of a republic. Which means if you discard those, then there is no end. You've discarded the end. So the question is misstated. The whole idea of ends versus means is a misstated argument, because the question is it's the competition between what is the ends. Are the ends the proper modes of governments, or is the end having America be unified? Well, only one of those is republicanism. Only one of those is, the American system as we know it. So if you discard the American system to keep the country intact, you have not achieved an end. You've achieved an end, but not any kind of end that would justify a means to achieve that end, because that wasn't the end that people wanted when they created the country. You haven't preserved the country, in other words. So the idea of he preserved the Union, not really. If you destroy the politics by your methods of, quote, preserving the Union, then you've destroyed the Union. It's not a union. It's not a union of states. It's a top-down, completely unified empire where all the states are merely annexed territories of said empire. That's all it is. I think I can move just as fast as my horse, so... with my little black hand robes on. Yeah! So that's really what it comes down to. So the fact that, you know, Abraham Lincoln spat all over the Constitution matters only in so much as the Constitution matters. So if you're preserving the Union because and in an attempt to preserve the Constitution, you've defeated the whole point of the exercise. Have you heard of the mud-still theory? No. It was an economic theory popular in the antebellum South that claimed all civilized societies need to be built on the work of an underclass. I'm not familiar with it, but at least not in any kind of detail where I can discuss it. But, you know, slavery was considered a universal human institution by most cultures, hence why they had it. The abolition of slavery was actually something that was very odd. If you were to look at history, like, what? They just got rid of this institution that all cultures, all, quote, civilized cultures had? Well, that's weird. Why would they do that? Well, because they decided it was wrong to enslave human beings. Oh, but they'd always been enslaved. Pretty sure there's like an enemy following me somewhere, but I don't care. I'm hell-bent for leather. Lessons your history class won't tell you. Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant who curbed actual free speech and used the federal government to usurp states' rights. Absolutely. You know, and you can look at Supreme Court history as well. The 19th century is a very interesting time. Most of our constitutional rights were not considered incorporated because it was viewed as the state's rights to decide all that. You could have a state religion, for instance. Yeah. You can't talk about slavery. I don't even care if my channel gets deleted anymore, you know? It's just not something I care that much about. You lose all the cool lighting effects as soon as you turn on Night Eye. Kind of sad, but it's alright. He's over there. That's where oh, no, these are... must be a bunch of rats or something. Yeah, the little skeevers. You know what we should use? Get some souls in some of these petty gems here. Whoa, a trap! Some soul gems here. It's a soul gem. No, he's behind me. He's this way. Quilted doublet. What's the damage on this longsword? I'm jinxing 10 versus 9. Versus 4. That's because I have low skill. Longsword of jinxing it is. Oh, he's like under the water here? Oh, yeah, there it is. It's dead drop orders. I thought I was trying to kill someone. I must go to the city of Breville and lie in wait near the ancient statue known as the Lucky Old Lady. This is where you definitely figure out that you're killing the members of the Black Hand. A wood elf named Ungalim visits the statue every night between around 6 and 1 a.m. to make a wish, as is the local custom. When I see Ungalim, I must kill him. Should be warned, however, that Ungalim has been alerted to danger, and if he senses an assassin, will probably attack on sight. He's also bribed the guards to look the other way if there's a fight. Perhaps a stealth approach would be best. Let us not suffocate here. I wonder if there's... I wonder if I should just, like, quickly scope out the rest of this, you know? Maybe get a couple blunt skill ups here with this. This thing. Have you played Kingdom Come? If not, that might be a good game to play on Steam. I think I have it. No. Has some dwarven armor. Dwarven queer ass. Oh, she's way up there. Dang it. I have to, like, go around to get her. It's alright. There's a bone on that rat. It's a trap. Blunt skill increased. Blunt skill increased. All the stoners are laughing. Blunt skill. How did I get up there? Must be another way around that I'm not seeing here. Well, I could probably just jump up there, huh? Let's see. I just jump on this, and then can I make the? Oh, nope! Hit that ceiling thing there. No good. But I can get this Varla stone right here. That's worth some money. Is there another switch around? I bet you there's a switch up there if I could just get to it. I think she ran out of arrows, so why don't I go up there and see if I can kill her? Here, we're good on this. There we go. Let's take your arrows. Oh, you got crap for loot. There's a couple more Varla stones. Or some money. And you can enchant a weapon. I mean, you can fully replenish a weapon with them, which is pretty cool. Oh, thank you, David Dix. It is my opinion that Star Wars prequels should have been non-canon and only in honor A New Hope. Would have ruined Star Wars if Anakin and Vader were two different characters in the prequels. I don't know. Yeah. They're George's stories. They are what they are. But I look at them as two different trilogies, you know. They're very thematically different with each other. I like the prequels in a bunch of different ways. I actually think, you know, I think people's expectations, people had a completely different set of expectations than what was probably appropriate for the prequels. And I think that harmed a lot of people's experiences, including my own. And part of it is that we wanted something that not only was like the old one, but it made us feel the same. And that's really not... It's really asking something kind of impossible. Stop and think about it. It's like I want this to be like the old one and feel as original as the old one and make me feel the way the other one did. And because George failed to make me feel the same way about his new movies as I felt about the old movies, I hate them. Can I get out of here? Is there like a little step up here somewhere? I understand that there's something dangerous here. Oh, a slaughterfish. Here we go. You know, there's some bad guys here. Let me see. I thought that, like, I don't know, I hear some stairs. Let's go back in there. Let's get out that. There we go. Kill the slaughterfish. About to be slaughtered! Nope, guess not. How do I get out of this water? Like, maybe it's one way. Maybe I was supposed to come in here and then... like it's like one way. Here, you know, we could try this though. Nope, that's not it. Like this. Then we can just kind of hop out of here. Oh, they're locked. There we go. See, that works. There's all this, like, battle music for these mud crabs. Oh, ran out of charge on the axe. Oh well. Still use it, maybe get a couple quick skill ups. I remember back when you talked about the problem of having to censor chat in your right streams because chat comments could now get you banned. Now you don't care. I don't really care that much. It's just... it's dumb, you know? I just don't care, really. Alright, one of these didn't work. One of these dumb puzzles. We're gonna just jump across there? I think I can. It's epic battle music to kill the crab. I think the most people who hate the prequels indulged in the semi-canon EU material and had their long-held preconceived beliefs changed. As a pure movie watcher, I never had a problem. Well, I mean, I think there were problems with the first movie in particular. But nothing that, like, honestly made it that bad. It was more just the first movie had... oh, there's zombies here. The first movie had problems with executing certain things, and I think they especially had problems with, like, oh, the zombie found a way through. It means I could find a way through too. Oh, there's the way through. So headless zombie, I probably need to, like, have my good gear on for that, because they do a little bit of damage. But these things have like turbo strength and just like knock you back no matter if you block or not. But they're super slow, so you can just kind of jump. If you just kind of juke in and out, kind of like in Morrowind. If you're good with Morrowind, you can just kind of juke, around spellcasters and not get hit by them at all. Oh, there's a skeleton over here shooting arrows at me somewhere. Where are you? Oh, there you are. There we go. That bone meal. And Dwarven bow. I'm over encumbered. How much damage does this do? 4 damage versus like 3 damage. Oh, I could have turned undead with that. Should really keep a track like what's in my bags. Question is, what am I dropping? I'm guessing probably the bow. It's just not worth that much. Oh, thank you for the super chat. The dilemma of the U.S. Civil War. North increased statism but promised abolition. South grant absolute state sovereignty but use and keep slave labor. Yeah. Yeah, you solve... I mean, you give up... You wreck the problem of where state sovereignty should lie. And you instead give up on... I guess the problem of individual liberty, you know. That some people don't have liberty. They just don't have liberty under the South system at all. They're owned. Like, you can't have owned people and then be like, it's a free country. Well, it's a free country for some. For some, not all. Here we go. Yeah. Whoa, something's attacking me. That was a weird set of animations there. I was getting owned because I couldn't see anything. Is this guy a vampire? Oh, he's ignored when he's fired. There we go. Silver Claymore. Let's repair his armor real quick. With those repair skill ups. Cruelty's heart. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I was wearing that. Okay. Oh yeah, my fire shield, brah. Gets rid of my vampire weakness to fire, which I appreciate. Let's wait 1 hour. The Democrat Party is becoming the minority party, and the Republican Party is the battleground between the Civ-Nat kosher faction and the American nationalists.
Recently, your skin looks a bit off.
I find it hilarious that look at her animations aren't going. Look at the animations. Look at these messed up animations. Yeah. Yeah, there's something wrong with those animations, huh? An ant crawling on me. I'm trying to get rid of these ants for like 2 weeks. Get rid of them and then they like come back in. That's like the worst, like when a bug is crawling on you. And like, I don't know what they're looking for. There's no food in this room. There's no food anywhere near here. Well, no, that's not true. I just ate food. But I don't leave food in here. I don't leave food in this room. I don't know what's going on. Saying, do you get banned? What does the future look like for your feature writing? I'm going to use that YouTube as a form of advertising. I want my shredded hood. Don't want the steel cuirass. I don't know. I don't know. Christianity is the main reason some Americans felt compelled to end slavery. Whoa, look at this guy. Look at this person. Look at this orc.
What's the matter? Getting tired?
There's another one in here somewhere. Oh, we'll come back and repair you later. Where's this other guy? There should be a last guy in here somewhere. Oh, here he is. Can he get through the door? Watch this. Let's see if I can get it to work. No, can't do it. Oh well. Let's do this. There we go. Here he comes. Later, bro. Alright. Do the annoying thing of repairing their armor. To get the armor skill ups. See, it's little things like this that will help you get those endurance skill ups. Just like repairing the garbage that is on the person's body. Putting it back on their iron boots, steel. Go back to this other orc here. Yeah. Steel. Alright, we're good. Are you feeling well? Slash cut. Oof. Escapes Elder Scrolls moment. Glad that's recorded. Yeah. Are you feeling well? Let me attack you. It's like they all run on scripts, and so this is why I love Oblivion, is that the scripts just kind of run. So sometimes the NPC behavior is bizarre and unpredictable, and to me that makes it a little bit more fun in a weird way. Like, maybe not to everybody, but to me, I think it's quite a bit of fun. Let's see where this one goes. Oh, bet you there's some. Oh, there's a marauder in here. With a dog. No, it's a skeleton and a dog and a wolf for some reason. A skeleton guardian. Oh, there's going to be a wizard in here then. It's going to be interesting. Got to get these stones. Make sure nothing's attacking me from behind. See, these stones are money. You know, each of these is like 50 gold. And you can use them for mana, if you need mana. They're like a mana potion, too. So they do double duty the whole time. But I'm going to have to drop some gear to get out of here. Because, I don't have enough room in my bag. So something's going to have to get left behind. I don't know what. Yeah, here's beds and stuff for the marauders to sleep in. Oh, I forgot. I got the. I did get the. What you call it? The skeleton key. So I really actually don't need to do this. I can just be spamming it. What are you putting in there? That long sword of jinxing in there. Gold. A rusty key. I wonder where the rusty key goes. A couple of big praying mantis crawl on me yesterday. Might have got too gonzo while filming then. Yeah. Praying mantises are really cool. They're one of my son's favorite bugs. We found some baby ones in the lawn the other day, which was kind of cool. Like, I love the lighting effects of Oblivion. They're really cool. Like, this is very spooky and atmospheric. I was wondering if there was like an ancient statue or something in here. I don't remember where the statues are. I just thought I'd explore. So why not? Alright. So I think this is the whole room. Let's turn on Night Eye, make sure I didn't miss anything important. What's up? What's your opinion on MechWarrior RPG? I don't know anything about it. Are you thinking of like the tabletop? I think there's a tabletop one, but I don't really remember anything about it. I like playing BattleTech, like the BattleTech tabletop game, but that wasn't really an RPG. I'd like to play more of it. But yeah, banning people in the chat before was like, people say dumb things that basically will get my channel flagged, but my channel's already been flagged to the point that it doesn't matter anymore. So, who cares? I already killed this person, huh? I guess I did. I guess I came through here. And that's the way out. Cyrodiil. Did I miss any part of this? Well, I guess I already did all this. Right? This is where the Varla stones and stuff were. So, we can just go out this way. Am I right? I think I'm right. I read up on the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln a lot lately. I don't think the tyrant view of Lincoln holds up well. Thomas de Lorenz especially twisted facts to suppress that view. I think it holds up pretty well. But what do I know? Oh, that's not the right way. Oh, maybe I can't because these things are blocked off. Is there a switch somewhere? And should have just converted it fully to an empire. I guess I'm gonna have to go out the other way. Because I can't get through that little area there. What's your favorite Call of Duty game? I haven't played most of them, so I really don't have a valid opinion on them. Oh yeah, we can just do, where is it? Auto attempt, because that's the skeleton key. We never have to open anything with effort again. Tabletop Battletech RPG. I don't think I played it. Maybe I did, but I just don't have an opinion on it. Didn't play it enough. Yeah, I don't really have a valid opinion on Call of Duty. I don't think they're bad games. I think they're fine for what they are. They're not my favorite games, so I don't really play them. You know, Modern Warfare was pretty hot back when it came out. Elder Scrolls Total War is a pretty amazing Medieval 2 mod if you haven't played it. I haven't played it. See, I liked most of the Battletech and MechWarrior stuff prior to the year 2000, which was nothing negative, especially about the year 2000. It's just kind of when I stopped paying attention to that. It was a little bit after that. I don't really know who owns it right now. There we go. Your blood turns to ice as a familiar shadow draws near. This part is great. Ungolem is dead. I must now journey to the city of Anvil and pick up my reward and next contract at the dead drop there. It is located in the barrel just behind the pond in the city of Anvil.
No. No! I thought I could get here in time. Thought I could stop you. Sins. What have you done? What madness has claimed you? You have betrayed me. You have betrayed the Dark Brotherhood. Why? I am here to end your miserable life. But I can see the confusion in your eyes. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
Billy Joel. I have no specific opinion on him other than I don't really like his music, and I saw him on the Today Show once, like 20 years ago, and he was a complete idiot. So that's the end of my opinion.
Your first dead drop contract. You carried that out. Killed Saladin.
Have you played any of the Total War games? I think I played Rome Total War. That's a while ago.
Your dead drops went invisible.
But I don't think I finished it.
Your targets ignored. Instead, you have been systematically killing off all of the members of the...
I have one of the 40k ones,
Jugast,
like Dawn of War.
Chalice, Uvalovani, Havelstein, Horblood, speakers and silencers all, and Ungonum, the listener himself. The surviving members of the Black Hand know you're innocent. They know you are only following orders. They believe I am the traitor. The traitor somehow switched your orders and has been sending you to the wrong dead drops. You and I have been deceived. We must find out who is behind this betrayal. We haven't much time. I'm hunted day and night by the Black Hand. They want me dead.
According to his journal, Lincoln was a devout Christian with a close relationship to God, was also severely depressed and carried the weight of the world. That doesn't change what he did. You appeal to how someone feels about
Uncover
something.
the true traitor's identity.
He feels bad because he did some bad things.
Come see me.
I would expect it to weigh upon his soul.
It's no longer secure. It's under watch by the Black Hand. I'll wait for you at Apple Watch, the farm where you killed the old Dracondis woman. It should be empty and safe. Now go, and may Sithis help us all.
Alright, this is where you get to uncover, like, all the plots. No!
Learn the identity of the... You'll return to me, yet you bear no news? Go, Silencer.
I accidentally attacked him. I wonder if that actually gave me a bounty. Let's find out. I don't think it does, but it'd be interesting. Because I was like mid-swing when he started talking to me, I think. 0 bounty. Okay. Ungolem's Key. Now, at the end of this, you get to go inside the statue. And it's pretty cool. I think we're basically out of time right now, though, so... I can go inside his house, I think, and steal a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it's over here. Open with Ungolem's Key. See, we can't go in here early because then it might reveal too much stuff. Know what all we can steal out of here. Maybe more Black Hand robes. Gold. Oh, I can sell all my lockpicks, so that's kind of convenient. They don't weigh anything, though. Anything in here? I guess there's nothing really in this. No more Black Hand robes. Plan on doing the Painted World quest eventually? Yeah, probably. That's a fun one. Alright. Somewhat useful here. Does this guy have a bed? Gotta be in here. Some brandy to steal. Man, these Black Hand guys, for like murderers, they are just like dirt poor. Yeah, man, these guys are dirt poor. And nothing worth stealing. Had a bottle of brandy. That's it. Alright, off we go. Now I'm actually going to... save the game. I need to... Alright. I think I'm going to call it here, guys. I really appreciate it. So, we will pick that up next time. Let me see if I can come back in here and create a new save, just in case. So we'll pick it up here next time, finish this off, and then I'll probably play a new game. I do appreciate everybody coming to hang out for a bit. I do appreciate all the super chats and all the conversations. To be fair, you wiping out the Black Hand sort of proves they were unfit to be your superiors. That's true. The Bourbon claimant to the throne of France, Louis XX, recently spoke out against the Black Lives Matter riots in the light of the attack on the Catholics in St. Louis. Wish France was based again. There's a lot of based French people, man. They're out there. I don't like all the crap talking on Frenchmen. They're the Gauls, man. They're hard. They have it in their blood. Alright, I think I didn't miss any super chat, so thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next time. Newest book is Tyrant's Gallop. I was meaning to look at this. I got like a deal on that. We'll take a look at that during the week at some point. Newest book is Tyrant's Gallop. Okay, so this one comes out. I mean, this one's out now. The next book that's coming out is actually a follow-up. I mean, it's in the same series as Crown of Sight, but these books are not like a sequential series where like one comes after the next. They're basically a bunch of independent, shorter format stories, like novellas that are in the distant past to my other fantasy novels. So that one will come out. Then Eternal Dream Part 3. I'm going to try to finish drafting that. And then Part 3 of Moonsong, we'll try to get that out this year. As well as another horror book that's a full-length horror book. There's a lot on my plate to try to finish up and write. So I really do appreciate anybody that's buying the books. And that's where you can get them. You can get this one. And this one's actually free in the Corona Chan anthology. Oh, and thank you for the $2. Thank you for answering the questions. I appreciate it. I like answering them. I like talking about them. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm talking about. So try not to have no idea what I'm talking about. So if I can't answer a question, that's because I don't know it, or I don't feel like I know enough about it to say something. All right, guys. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.